Good. Just in time for too late.
Yeah, tá rua foi.
This week, from the University of Calgary Film Society, we are going to be watching Mauri by Mauri, a Maori film that explores the dynamics of a close-knit community. During this intro video, I would like to take some time to talk about our director of this week's film. Mauri was a renowned filmmaker and activist, and deserves some attention, as she may not be known to many of us, but should. And before we go much farther, I would like to recommend the documentary that Mauri's son made and that is available on Netflix called Mauri, How Mom Decolonized the Screen, and gives a beautiful depiction of Mauri's life and her career. Highly recommend.
From around the Motu and around the world, plenty of tributes this week for filmmaker Merata Mita, who passed away last Monday. In a career spanning almost 30 years, she helped set the template for how Māori people and their way of life would be portrayed on screen. Aroha Mane takes a look back at the life of a film pioneer.
What we see on the screen is only the dominant white monocultural perspective on life. We need to see our own. We need to see our own people up there. We need to be able to identify with our own race. We need to see each other up there, and we need to go out and do it. As far as possible, we try hard to maintain a level of integrity that is part of being Maori, and telling Maori stories and trying to bring those to the screen. There have been so many projects that have been negative about Maori people, and it's one thing that I'm determined not to give way to.
Mita has influenced many filmmakers across the globe, and she helped pave the way for Indigenous filmmakers. And here are some clips from other filmmakers speaking of how they felt about Mita's films and how she helped influence their own filmmaking.
The first major documentarian who was Indigenous I met was Alanisa Bomsawin, and I met her in 1984 at a film festival in Guelph in Canada, and we were the only two Indigenous people with work screening.
We watched each other's films, and I don't know, it was a very important feeling. It was as if we knew each other for a long time, although we never met.
When I think of that meeting of Alanis and Merata in Guelph with the first pairing of the two films, I tend to think of that as like the creation moment. They were the spark that actually set the fire. And so for Indigenous cinema, it really does trace back to Merata and Alanis.
I felt there was a lot of feeling and experience that were very similar in terms of fighting for a voice for our people.
She was a big part of the development process in my script Boy. The first draft of that was pretty dramatic and just typical New Zealand depressing film. She reminded me, that sort of my point of difference in filmmaking is is trying to maybe take a serious situation and inject it with a lot of this sort of irreverence or humour. That's what would make Boy more interesting.
Got scared and ran away.
Finally, if you go to New Zealand On Screen's website and look up Merata Mita, you will find her full overview of her biography and her screenography, as well as the website has access to some of her films that you can watch for free. So definitely check that out if what we've talked about so far has piqued your interest or if this film really connects with you. Now, on to this week's film.
You stay away from here!
I didn't mean to offend. You might own everything else around here, but not this place.
Sorry.
If we look at the Maori definition of Mauri, it gives us insight into the essence of the film. And I honestly won't say much more, as I think that it speaks for itself. I find the film incredibly peaceful. Mita includes the land as a major theme throughout the film. Additionally, the beginning of the film may seem confusing if you're used to the westernized style of storytelling in which there is a linear storyline. Here, you may notice that there is more of a cyclic feeling and temporality is hard to locate. I want you to think about this in terms of Indigenous storytelling and what that means for the film and how it all comes together in the end. Here are some content warnings about the film. There is some racial slurs and derogatory language. They basically all come from this one character, Mr. Simmons, so when you see him, watch out. Additionally, there is a boar hunt at one point in which a boar is cut open and its intestines are shown. It's a very brief moment, but just be aware. There is also one scene of sex, but it is quite tastefully done and not very graphic. I hope you enjoyed the film, and I also hope that it potentially acts as a jumping point into more Indigenous films. There's so much out there that we really are not exposed to enough, and these voices need to be heard. I look forward to talking to you all about this amazing film on Friday at 7 p.m. on Discord. See you there.